Hello LEGO fans, Bricks Unbound here with another Building Hogwarts update. Today we're taking a look at the first attempt at roofing the east wing of Hogwarts. That's the section where I have the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom. And as I said, it's the first attempt. As you can see, there's lots of gaps just all over the place on this. Specifically, the biggest problem right now are these gaps behind the peaked roof here. The issue, of course, being that the angles of the plates, the slopes, are the 2x3 slopes, and then the angles of this peak section here are the 1x2x1 slopes. So the issue being that since the angle is different, they don't line up correctly there, but I don't really want to change the angle of necessarily either one. The 2x3 slopes is what I've used on all the other sections of roof for this part, and they're supposed to line up in theory with those. Obviously this doesn't, you can see it here, but more specifically in the back it's 1 or 2 bricks taller, which is a bit unfortunate, but the reason it is that is because this section of Hogwarts is considerably wider than this section here. And I, of course, did not think about that when I established the width of the east wing here, so it's going to take a bit of thinking and probably a fair bit of rebuilding to get this to work better. I mean, I could potentially get away with it back here. The main issue being that this kind of downward angle there doesn't line up with the corner like it would look a lot better if it did. So that's unfortunate for sure. I'll have to think about it, because in order to get it to work I would have to really make this quite a bit narrower, like 4 or 8 studs even maybe. Which would be really hard because I'd lose all these details here. These towers would be too close together. One potential solution that would help a little bit would be to move the attachment point of this tower in this wall. Just move it up a bit, and then it would potentially help there. I'm just not sure how that will affect the attachment up here, because it's actually quite a bit of the tower already that's sticking out from the side of Hogwarts. I thought roughly the correct amount too. So it'll take a little bit of thinking to figure out how I'm going to solve that particular issue. I could just leave the back, not ideal, but I could leave the back and then just basically, instead of having the section here where it comes up to the peak, just leave it flat like this all the way across, and then it wouldn't show off the issue in the front at all. But then the roof's not going to look quite right from above, so again, going to take some planning, some real thought calculations there to get it to work. I mean, that's just one of the dangers of building at this scale, is that if you don't think about the roof when you're building the rest of it, all the dimensions are going to be off. So that was my bad, but there's a good tip for anyone else working on large-scale things, or even small-scale things for that matter. Make sure you have the dimensions of the top of it figured out before you make the dimensions of the bottom. But oh well. It's still been fun building this section. It's just going to be a little bit more fun as I have to redo part of it. For the roof of the towers, right now I have these plates in just as kind of a reference to try to figure out the angles. Obviously there's all kinds of gaps around there. I could probably mess around with a little bit to get those to fill in better. This is kind of using a similar technique to what they did on the various non-UCS Millennium Falcons. And it didn't work great for this section of tower. I could probably cover up those gaps a little bit better. I have to think about it. The other one technique that I saw in, and I've already forgotten the builder's name, but in a Beyond the Brick video, somebody had done the Beauty and the Beast castle. I'll leave a link to it down in the description. and they had used tiles and clips and hoses. So that's what I've kind of recreated here. In their version they had 1x2 tiles. These are obviously 2x2 tiles. I think I'll probably, if this is what I go with, I probably will end up using 1x2 tiles, because otherwise when this gets closer up to the peak of the roof, these are not going to be able to fill it in quite as well. There'll be all kinds of crazy gaps. See, I'm already trying to think about higher up on the builds, whereas the 1x2 tiles, it's a lot easier to maneuver them into smaller spaces. This is the general idea. It's not perfect. I really quickly put this together with pretty much the only two longer pieces of flex tube that I had. I think it's the 3 millimeter hose is, I believe, what it's actually called, that these clips can just fit onto. So I think this has a potential to work if I, figure out the spacing and how to keep adding additional sections. Maybe if I just have the whole top section be able to lift off, so then I can run plates all the way across here. It'll make it a little bit sturdier. The issue, of course, being that this will take thousands of pieces to do it this way. Which, I mean, I guess in the grand scheme of things, I've used, tens of thousands of pieces in just this area of the castle, not even to mention the Great Hall, entrance courtyard, and just the start of the Grand Staircase Tower. So maybe I shouldn't worry about a high piece count. It'll just take a long time to source the parts for it. So while I am thinking about how to correct the roofing, and if I really want to do a bunch of rebuilding or how to do that, I might start another section of the castle. I haven't decided exactly which one. I was kind of thinking, obviously it's not here, but the section that connects to the Grand Staircase Tower and has another little inner courtyard, I think called the Quad, is what maybe that section of Hogwarts is called. But it has, again, gesturing at the empty space here, it has the Gryffindor Tower in the back corner, Divination Tower, the Hospital Wing, which then attaches to the Clock Tower courtyard, and the Clock Tower itself. So I might start working on that section next. The issue being that, in addition to just emptiness, there's also no table back there, so have to figure out spacing wise. I can at least do some building in this nice big empty spot here, but again, figuring out dimensions, although it'll have to come apart in several sections, kind of like this area is over here. So I guess I'm just kind of rambling now about some future plans, but let me know what you think about the various attempts at the roof here so far, and if you have any suggestions on how I should fix it here, that would be appreciated, as well as other techniques to do this kind of roofing here, because I'm going to look up some more various castle YouTube videos, other just kind of castle spire roof techniques, to figure out if I can come up with some other way to do this the best. But if you have some ideas, let me know. Thank you for watching this video, and please come back for more.